with what she believes to be appendicitis. She's fearful she's going to need surgery tomorrow. I got her permission to reveal all of that to you guys. So keep her in your prayers. Obviously, we'll miss her greatly here today, and hopefully she'll have a good recovery. But that is simply to explain to you guys why Miss Kellum is not here. And it's probably hurting her more that she's not here than the appendicitis is nonetheless. So at this time, I'd like to recognize Pastor Brooks, who will lead us in prayer, and Jace Powell, who will lead us in the pledge of allegiance. Please stand.
May we all bow. Gracious Heavenly Father, once again, we want to say thank you for this blessed day. Then, Father, we ask blessing upon the city council and its mayor and all the departments that are represented in this city. Oh, Heavenly Father, that things will be done decently in order, that we may be a city of love, where love will abide from one heart to another. Father, we pray for Lindsay that she will have a speedy recovery, whatever her situation may be. We ask healing in the name of Jesus on her behalf. So, Father, we just thank you for all that many blessings. In Jesus' precious name we do ask. Amen.
Amen.
Attention, salute, I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you guys for both of that. At this time, I'd like to recognize for item 3A, Miss Julia Lever, who was insisting that I call this meeting to order 10 minutes early. She was ready, and apparently I was not. So now, Ms. Lever, you're recognized to recognize those members of the Mayor's Youth Council.
Well, my Apple clock is apparently 4 minutes ahead of time. I would like to recognize the 2024-2025 members of the City of Gluckstadt Mayor's Youth Council. This year was a very tremendous year as we received over 200 applications. So these were 30 students chosen out of that pool of 200. As may I walk, they come in. First off is Alex Davis from Jackson Prep, Celeste Tatum from St. Andrews, Jericho Lewis from Germantown High School, Austin Sanders from Germantown High School, Matthew Delafonso from Germantown High School, Haran Josan from Germantown High School, Tiffany Lynn from Germantown High School, Jay Moss from St. Andrews Episcopal School, Adriana Perez from St. Andrews Episcopal School, Shelby Grant from Jackson Academy, Andy Santini from Germantown High School, Natalie Welch from Germantown High School, Reagan Alexander from Germantown High School, Reese Allman from Germantown High School, Simmer Campbell from Germantown High School, Bella Brewer from Germantown High School, Liliana Valdez from Germantown High School, Sage Kindlegrass from Germantown High School, Mia Scholler from Germantown High School, Ava Baran from Jackson Academy, Ashby Robinson from Germantown High School, Madison Davis from Germantown High School, Addison Kellum from Germantown High School, Mackenzie Davis from Germantown High School, Verona Lewis from Germantown High School, Hedge Peter Vanderpool from Germantown High School, Aiden Holly from Germantown High School.
And Julia Lee.
Wait, no, that's everybody finished?
Sorry.
It's okay. Sorry, we need to talk about this. Hey, she's good. Wait.
So in the 80s, when I was in high school, you couldn't have got me close to anything called the Mayor's Youth Council. I had no idea what I was going to do the next day, not to mention the next year or the next month. For you, all of you, you said 200 applicants. with all of the various things that young people have to do today that occupy their time, it's truly amazing that all of you have agreed to do this, understanding that it takes a commitment on your part. And I'm amazed by you guys and very impressed. So congratulations to all of you.
Can I have all students of the Mayor's Youth Council and all parents of the Mayor's Youth Council follow my mom out to the front podium? That's my mom.
I'm glad somebody in your house.
There you go, there you go.
Thank you, Pastor. Thank you. All right. At this time, item number 3B, I had hoped that Ms. Jenny Robinson or somebody on the Christmas parade committee would be here, but as you can tell, the date has been chosen as December the 14th at 9:00. And I think they want the city to approve that date. As you know, Ms. Jeannie has taken care of it the last 2 years, done a phenomenal job. They've obviously coordinated with the police department. That date is acceptable to them, and it works on the with other municipalities in the area. So I would ask for you guys to approve the 2024 Christmas parade for December the 14th at 9 a.m.
Make that motion, sir.
Mr. Powell made a motion. Is there a second? Second. Ms. Bates seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Item 4 is approval of the consent agenda. Absent questions or comments about that, I would ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Mayor, she asked me to tell you the 9/6 minutes were added. Y'all should see that the email. Also, when it comes to the fixed assets, the surplus item, the city just needs to make the finding that they're of no value to the city, so we can officially get rid of them.
And what was the first thing that you said?
The 9/6 minutes were supplemented
9-6 minutes.
Friday.
Okay, what about it?
Just a note. She just wanted me to know that.
Okay, they're listed on my agenda.
There's something.
Okay. And then the other thing had to do with the item 4E.
Yes, sir. The fixed assets, they want to surplus it. The city itself needs to just make the finding that they have zero value to the city, so we can get rid of it.
Okay, so then is there a motion to approve the consent agenda, recognizing the supplementation of the September 6th meeting minutes, and also finding, as a matter of fact, that the items on 4E have zero value? Mr. Taylor made a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Slade seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. Ms. Martin, do you want to handle the monthly budget report? Guys, this is obviously just an FYI matter. If there are any questions, I do every month sign off on the bank reconciliations. I look at them all, sign off on them, make sure that at least from my perspective, they look appropriate. You also have access to those in your packet. Everything has to be in order in our budget report. Again, it's an FYI matter. Absent questions or comments about that, I'll move to item 6. All right, item 6A is something that I asked to put on the agenda for tonight, and I asked that because it's something that's really been bothering me. It's been concerning me for a long time. I think it's more appropriately labeled or name on our agenda the rule of law. Here's what I mean by that. I know that when I took an oath for this office, I swore to uphold the laws of the state of Mississippi and the United States. I suspect that everybody here took a similar oath to uphold the law of both the state of Mississippi and the United States. Every one of the officers who I have administered the oath to have sworn an oath to uphold the state of Mississippi's laws. As you guys know, you guys on this board are charged with passing the laws. My responsibility is to enforce the laws. That includes laws that I don't like or that I don't agree with. And there have been some that you guys have passed that I probably would not have voted in favor of, but that's just not the way this system works. You pass the laws, it's my obligation to enforce them. The same is true with laws that were passed by the state of Mississippi and by the county. What I mean specifically about that is our police department and Mr. Hall and his department have faced in the last several months unending heat over doing their job. We have caught tremendous amount of grief from people who are upset that our police officers do their job and enforce the law. We've had people who have invested a lot of money in this community upset that William Hall enforces the law. You guys, I think, would be appalled if I walked in the chief's office or I went into William's office and said, you know what? I like to drive fast on Gluckstadt Road. Quit enforcing the speed limit. If I went into William's office and said, William, there's a particular ordinance that the board passed that I just don't agree with, so I don't want you to enforce it. You guys would rightly be appalled and I would be ashamed for having done that. And so what I have done from the very beginning is I have told Chief Hale, I've told Mr. Hall, our obligation is to enforce the law fairly, evenly, and equally to everybody. Black or white, rich or poor, live in this community or not. You're all subject to the same laws, myself included. I put myself at the top of that list. So the reason I'm asked to have this discussion tonight is that I really need your support, because although I don't read social media, I know a lot of people who do. And I know Chief Hall is one of them. Chief Hale is one of them, and I know Mr. Hall is probably another. And these guys face an unending amount of heat for doing their job. I have insisted that they continue to do their job. You guys are out in the community, you have neighbors, you have friends, you have constituents. My only ask of you is to support our people. If you disagree with the way in which I'm doing my job in enforcing the laws, I'd ask you to tell me that, so at least I can understand and think about if I'm doing something incorrect. But really and truly, I ask for your support, because I don't mind taking the heat. And I know Chief Hale and Mr. Hall probably don't mind taking the heat. But you guys can do a lot, go a long way towards helping these people. If you'll just help us explain to people out there, this is what our law requires. We are citizens of laws. This is a country of laws. You either back the blue or you don't. You either agree to follow the rules or you don't, even when you don't like it. So if you would just please help me support these people, it'll go a long way, and I greatly appreciate it. And that's all I have to say on the topic, but it's open for any of you to make any comments, suggestions that you want to make.
I will just say that I appreciate you bringing some of those thoughts out. And when I've had questions from citizens, I've tried to encourage them to go ahead and reach out to the chief and or Mr. Hall directly, have that conversation they need to have, not, the attacking, accusational, but just a conversation. And sometimes those conversations are difficult, but I do encourage them to do that. And then if they don't get what they would deem unacceptable, then let's talk more. But, you know, with us helping you, that's good, but sometimes it's best to refer to that department head and still have that frank discussion.
Yeah, and I'm not so much asking you to help me, okay, although I need the help. I'm really asking you to help these folks do what they're, to help them, because if there are, you know, behind the scenes comments that undermine their credibility and their legitimacy, it really hurts these folks. I rode with one of the officers today on traffic detail because I wanted to see for myself what's out there. In 30 minutes, he wrote 2 tickets, and this is mid-morning, for people going 50 into 35. One of those people didn't have insurance. He wrote another ticket for somebody going 48 into 35. Not one of them lived in our community. Not one of them lived in Red Oak or Ridgefield or Arrington, where they risk their lives every day to try to get into traffic on Gluckstadt Road. Not one of them. And so those are the people who I will submit to you can go on Facebook and tear these people down for just doing their job. And you guys can help them and help the city by helping defend them and defending what they do. Because every day I look at them and say, do your jobs. I don't care how much heat it brings on you, do your job. And that's what I expect them to do, is to do their jobs. And I appreciate you helping me and helping them.
I'd just like to say real quick.
Yes, sir.
I live in Ridgefield, and I've spoken with quite a few citizens in Ridgefield, Arrington, and Red Oak, and everybody is 100% behind what the officers do. They're excited to see people being pulled over. I know there's been times when I've turned out my neighborhood and I'm doing 35 miles per hour. It used to be really bad. You have cars coming from Bozeman, they'll be hitting 60, 50, 60 miles per hour just flying by you. So you don't see it quite as bad anymore, but like I said, I know from speaking to the people in those neighborhoods, they are very thankful for the law enforcement being out there and doing the job, and want them to keep doing it.
Yeah, and I'm grateful for that too. It's a hard job these folks do. So I appreciate y'all giving me a few minutes to address that, and appreciate all that you can do to help us. Item number 6B is an ordinance pertaining to animal control. Who brought this? Chief Hale, is this your ordinance? Yes. Animal control ordinance, why don't you handle it?
Yes, what brought up to me is that we didn't have an animal control ordinance, so I got one of my sergeants who does this, to get us one, and we sent it to legal and they approved it. So I would like to get this animal control ordinance approved. I think I only have one thing, if I may. I sent the wrong one, John. I wanted to change, and I forgot to tell you where it says such an animal not suffering from an incurable injury or disease can be.
What page, what section?
Section 5.1.
5.1.
Okay, I'm with you. Yeah.
It says kept for 7 days, and we don't really have we changed it to where it can be kept up to 7 days.
Oh, okay.
I forgot I meant to
Do
do that.
you have a copy that's made that have, with that change on it?
Yes. You want it?
So 5.1 should read, shall be kept for up to 7 days.
7 days, yeah, it can be kept up to 7 days.
Any other edits?
No, sir.
Are there any questions of Chief Hale or comments about the proposed animal control ordinance?
I got a question. First of all, where do we keep these animals? Sometimes my dog,
We have, animal control guy that we contract out with, Kowski Williams. So he has, when we have one that we can't find the owner for, or we have one that we need to, take care of or get away from here, he takes it to, Canton Animal Hospital.
I think there's a daily, charge for
Yes.
that, whatever.
Yes.
You know how much it is?
I would have to look at it. We don't use them that often. We try not to.
The reason I'm asking, I got a phone call today from a lady, and she had a really good point. She said, look, if we take a trip, 2 weeks, whatever, they have somebody come to the house, takes care of the dogs. What if our dog gets out? and we're gone for 2 weeks. And you mentioned possibly increasing that to 30 days. That's the retention period in the city. And I told her, I said, I think that would be a problem because I don't know what this expense is to the city for housing these animals. 30 days is a long period, and we have several of them. It's going to become a real expense for the city. She mentioned that, she said, well, 10 days, 14 days, or but she said 7 days just isn't long enough. I don't,
Does the ordinance not say 5.2 that the owner has to pay? It says, may reclaim the animal upon payment of an impoundment fee to the city or its designee. So do you contemplate that the owner has to pay or the
Yes.
city has to pay?
The owner, but we haven't had that issue yet, so.
No, I mean, the ordinance not been adopted yet, but does that answer your question, Mr. Slade, 5.2?
it does. But let me ask you this. All right, let's say we increase that to 14 days. Nobody claims that. Then I can't remember what happens to it. I guess it's put to death or whatever at that point.
I would have to find that out. Like I said, our contractor guy handles that.
Well, here it is.
There it is.
5.3
Yes, just put it in.
says, if it's not reclaimed within 7 days, it shall become the property of the city and euthanized.
Well,
Yeah.
it says, shall be
Placed
placed
for
for adoption or
Or euthanized.
euthanized.
So
Placed for
I
adoption, I'm really thrilled to see.
think that what Alderman Slay is concerned about is somebody coming home and realizing that their pet's been euthanized.
Oh, I mean, we can change that, yeah.
What she made was, she said, look, a lot of people go on vacation for 2-3 weeks, and then they come, the animal might get out, and, you know, there's nothing, they don't know about it or whatever. And I said, well, you know, we might could increase that to 10 days, 14 days. You know, I have no idea what the daily cost to us is. You know, I'm sure a lot of these animals never claim.
We
Okay,
actually don't have that either. We have to.
okay.
pick up or anything.
I would say let's increase to at least 10 days. We can have,
You want to increase 5.1 up to 10 days?
that's my thinking. Yeah, I don't think a week is.
Any other discussion over it? Anybody else want to suggest something different?
So the 5.2 and 5.3.
Up to
But
10
then 3
days.
has to be modified too, doesn't it?
There's gonna be several locations.
Yeah.
But those refer to the 7-day waiting period. I think probably the expansion up to 10 days in 5.1 makes more sense because it's like there does need to be kind of a minimum of a 7-day waiting period so the animal can be reclaimed under 5.2. And 5.3, you don't want to destroy the animal until you have those 7 days. So I don't think you would have to increase the 7-day window in 5.2 and 5.3. I think you could just increase it more in 5. Which is probably why it said not less than.
Yeah.
Well, I think though, the question
Yeah, I
that
guess.
Alderman Slade's concerned about, if you look at 5.3, any animal not reclaimed by its owner within 7 days, and he's saying, well, they might be on vacation, might not even know.
Oh, that's the provision you want to increase. I'm sorry, I thought you meant 5.1.
Well, I assume you'd increase all of them.
Increase all of them.
I mean, you won't reach a trigger point until after 10 days for anything, right?
But well, the number of days is totally up to y'all. I just would make sure that, you know, when we were changing 5.1 to say up to a certain amount of time, that time that is a maximum in 5.1 also exists as a minimum in 5.2 and 5.3. So I can just see problems there. So I think you need to make an allowance for that. However, y'all, doesn't matter what number of days y'all want to do, that's up to y'all, but make sure you don't create something that's unenforceable as a result of those days not matching up.
Well, just a thought. Okay, your scenario, Mr. Slay, is an owner's out of town, a caretaker to a pet is there, the animal may bolt. So
Exactly.
the caretaker is going to communicate with their
You
staff
would think.
owner
You would think.
and or help get the word out. But in the, you know, we could have some wording, just thought, on if a responsible party on behalf of the owner notifies the city, you know, we'll have some flexibility there. Instead of changing 7 to 10 all throughout, because that's a cost to the city.
I know it. That was my point. You know, she thought it should be 30 days. I said, no, I don't think so. That's gonna become a major
What are your
expense.
thoughts on that?
Well, so, I mean, it seems to me that it says if the owner can be identified and the owner shall be notified, it doesn't necessarily put that duty incumbent upon the city. So I think in the scenario that you're contemplating, oh, I know Scott, he's my neighbor. This is his dog. Let me contact him. It doesn't, I think that still allows to achieve the purpose of what I understand you were saying. That's
Okay.
So we know we want to change 5.1 to up to 10 days. Do we want to change 5.2 and 5.3 within 10 days, within 10 days, or leave it within 7 days?
I say leave it, and then we have to come back to policy later. We don't have a lot of occurrences this morning.
Do we need this ordinance, Chief Hale?
We have roaming pet, you're not talking to him.
I mean, it's kind of one of those things where we don't need it till we need it. We may not need it for half a year, and then we may have an issue arise, and then we wish we had it.
A few months ago in Ridgeville, there were some dogs, I don't know what type of dog, they were Rottweiler, I know they were bigger dogs, they were loose while ladies were walking.
All right,
We've
so we
had-
want to leave 5.1, we're going to make 5.1 leave up to 10 days. And that's the only change in the proposed ordinance that we're going to make. Do I understand you guys? Mr. Scanlon, you understand?
I think so, yes, sir.
Okay.
I mean, as far as the need goes, a lot of times, there's a need for when you have an animal at large, I know there's a nuisance animal that's talked about in here, and sometimes it gives the police department an enforcement mechanism when there's a nuisance animal in the neighborhood.
We have had calls where they call us out. Luckily, we were able to rectify it before, but next door, their dog was outside barking when we stopped in the middle of the night, so.
We certainly don't want to kill somebody's dog.
No,
no,
that's not.
We'll use some discretion in that
And
sense before we start doing it.
And we go, we're gonna take every, opportunity we can to find out who the dog is. I mean, if the neighbors aren't there, we'll go back and the neighbors are there and try to find out. We don't want to harm an animal.
Okay, so with Mr. Slade's proposed amendment to 5.1, is there a motion to approve this proposed ordinance? Mr. Slade made the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Williams seconded. Did everybody say what they wanted to say? Okay. Ms. Williams seconded. All in favor? All right. Any opposed? All right, that passes. Item 6C, Chief Hale and I discussed in some detail today. Mr. Powell and I also discussed, we're going to table that for some work on 6C so that we don't wind up passing a law with some unintended consequences.
Yes.
So we're going to work on trying to make that a better ordinance and circle back to it at
Yes,
a
sir.
later time.
Yes, sir.
Mayor, I do have some changes that were made by Alderman Williams. I have a hard copy for everybody just to hand out
Sure.
so they can take home with them.
Yeah, that would be great. And we're going to work on it between now and the next meeting. Thank you for that. All right, item 6D has to do with an organizational chart for the city. This is something that we worked on, Ms. Kellum and I, Mr. Butler and I worked on to try to give you guys some idea of what the organizational chart, present and future, should look like. This all makes sense to me. Ms. Kellum has circulated to you guys numerous other cities' organizational charts for your review. I think this is a good idea. It makes sense to me. And I would ask you guys to approve this organizational chart for our city.
I move.
Mr. Slade made a motion. Is there a second? Second. Mr. Taylor seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
All right, I have 4-1 on that. All right, now let's go to item number 7. Ms. Stephanie?
I'm just asking for approval to be able to post my listing for, a deputy clerk to sit up front. That person will strictly, mainly their main job would be just to process the payments, like the people that come in to pay their citations. answer phones or assist with, copying and stuff like that, or other duties, as you see in the job posting. It's a 35,000 salary plus benefits.
How much?
35,000 plus benefits.
So would this deputy clerk also be in this night or weekend activities where you guys are needed? I know you told me you had to come up here before after hours, that's part of the role. You have it?
No, this person will not.
This person will not do that. Okay, that was what I want to clear. Okay,
And Miss Stephanie gets the bad luck of having to come up here when they pick up somebody at all hours of the night to come up here and handle that. So, any other questions? Okay.
I have one more question.
Yes, ma'am.
When would you anticipate this new person to start?
Well, not till we get to the new building, obviously, because we don't have anywhere to put them. So, I'm not gonna be in a hurry, I wanna take my time and time, because they have to have very tough skin, as y'all know. And I want it to be someone that's, trustworthy and that is gonna work with Lauren and I, because me and her are a great team. So we want definitely a third person that will mesh with both of us. I'll take my time, but definitely not till I get over there.
Okay.
And of course, what she's asking, what I'm asking is to allow us to advertise for the position, given the job description. Obviously, when there's a proposed candidate here, you guys are gonna have to pass on that proposed candidate. And, at that time, we'll certainly know when that person's gonna start. So this matter will come back before you when we have a candidate. It's just like,
Isn't this the same salary we budgeted for?
It was.
all right, is there a motion then to authorize the advertising for this new deputy court clerk?
Make a motion, sir.
Mr. Powell made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Slade seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stephanie. Ms. Ruth, item number 8A.
There's not much change from last month on existing grant programs. It was included in your package. Do you have any questions?
There really was not much change, was there?
All right, item 8B, National Night Out.
National Night Out, we did this at one, neighborhood last year. I can't remember the name of it, Chris, do you? They would like to participate again. And the other one we have is not technically in the city, but they're very close. So we said that we would allow them to participate. And it's one homeowners association, but it's Willington, Timber Ridge, and Northwind, which is, like I said, not technically in the city limits, but we said we would go to that by their event just to garner good neighbor relations.
So what are you asking?
Just if you have any suggestions, if you have anyone in the city that you know of that wants to participate, please contact me.
Okay, I got you.
And the date is
October 1st.
October the 1st. All right, any questions of Ms. Ruth? All right, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, item 9, Mr. Maher, you're gonna handle these?
I'm doing the best I can. Really, most of it's day to day and just normal, everything's kind of same. Obviously, FY25 budget is a big thing we've been working on.
You're gonna have to keep your voice up.
Obviously, FY25 budget was the big thing that was working on. We pretty much finalized that. Our schedule to adopt that. AP, same as usual. Y'all had the claims, already done that. Obviously, fixed asset purchasing. Everything's pretty much same. We are scheduled to go to training later in September. And we request approval to go to our normal winter conference. Outside of that, it's pretty standard.
Okay, that was 9A and 9B. Anybody have any questions of Mr. Ball about 9A and 9B? All right, item 9C, the 2024 tax roll of the Madison County Tax Assessor's Office requires you guys' approval. The county approved it and sent the information to us. I would ask for your approval of this tax roll. Is there a motion? Mr. Taylor made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Slade seconded. All in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? All right, item 9D. As you guys know, we are preparing to adopt a budget. You guys approved a tax levy, and so we need your authorization to publish the fiscal year 25 tax levy and adopted municipal budget that will be adopted on September the 13th. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Taylor made a motion. Mr. Slade, is you second?
I do.
Mr. Slade seconded. All in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? All right, item 9E has to do with notification of the completion of the municipal compliance questionnaire. This is something that we do every year. And Ms. Kellum puts this together. I review it, then it has to be approved by you guys and signed off by me formally. Any questions about that? Is there a motion then to allow me to approve this and certify it to the state auditor?
Make the motion, sir.
Mr. Powell made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Slade seconded. All in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? All right, item 9F, request for approval of the 25 rates for health insurance and supplemental benefits package.
Yeah, I mean, the health insurance is going down, which surprised me, honestly. Supplemental rates, unfortunately, are going up. They've been shopped around. This is pretty standard. The supplemental rates, obviously, are no cost to the city. I think it's a 20% increase, but it's been spread out over 2 years, so the employees will not get hit with it all in 1 year. Nelson, to my knowledge, I was talking to Lindsay about earlier, you shop around, the stuff's going up, unfortunately. It's just a part of the economy.
So the health insurance that the city is responsible for is decreasing, I believe that, by 7.3%.
Yeah.
Supplemental benefits that our employees are responsible for is going up.
That is correct. We just have it on the screen now. It looks like it's going down about $1,000, a little bit more than that.
Talking about the health insurance.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, so we need to approve these rates and accept them as published. Is there a motion?
I have a
Mr.
question.
Slay, I'm sorry, you have a question.
On page 284, and this is from the administrator, talked about the federal government making an assessment under the ACA, I guess, Affordable Care Act. It goes on to say that the Delta Dental has a right to recoup any assessments, taxes, fees, so forth. And it says that we acknowledge that the rates may be adjusted, and I can't, something else. Anyway, my question was, would the rates just be adjusted going forward to include those ACA costs? Or the way I interpret this, it says otherwise recoup any taxes or assessments. Mr. Campbell, I don't know if you know anything about that. I've never seen anything like this. But according to this, ACA has never assessed insurance companies, and this will be like, I think it's $8 billion a year they mentioned. And I wondered if they made an assessment, how is that to be paid? Is that rate, I assume this rate's going forward will be increased.
I assume so.
It says recoup. That's,
Yeah, I'm sure Mr. Scanlon can speak for himself. Maybe he can't. But I can tell you right now, I don't know the answer to your question. And if that is important to you, we need to get Mr. Nelson Morrison in here, not related to me, to answer that question, if that's important.
well, it's one of those things that could be very important, but you can't imagine an insurance company coming in and say, well, we got to recoup this cost. each one of our insurers owes us $200. You would think if they're assessed, then they would adjust the rates going forward. What this verbiage does, it gives them the right to, I think, adjust rates at any time. The way I interpret this. I don't think we need to spend a lot of time and worry about it. I was wondering if y'all knew anything about this.
Well, I don't have specific knowledge, and I think the mayor's probably right. We probably need to ask a representative from the company. I mean, I think the reason the rates are going right down is because your average age of employee is going down as y'all hire more people.
And I don't think
That's health insurance. This is, I believe this is Morgan White or Delta Dental, which is a supplemental benefit, so it wouldn't cost the city anything anyway. I'm not trying to be harsh to the employees, but it's not a city expense. This is a employee expense.
Very good point. Okay.
Does that alleviate your concern?
It does.
Okay. Is there then a motion to approve these insurance rates? Mr. Slay made a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Bates, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, request to item number 9G is again something that we have been working on in terms of trying to find a deputy city clerk. And so this Kellerman and I have worked on this job description. She also had input from Todd Butler. We've been talking about this. As you guys know now, Ms. Kellerman is the city clerk, Mr. Mall is her deputy clerk. We had Ms. Tony Young working here in a support role, and she has resigned her position to move somewhere with her husband to do what she needs to do. So that position is open. And so what we have been working on is hiring somebody so that they can come in and fill two roles. Number one, take up where Ms. Tony Young left off, and also to provide Lindsay and Scott with some much needed support. I can tell you that I get emails, text messages, and telephone calls from these two people, Ms. Keller and Mr. Mall, at all hours of the day and night, at every day, including Saturday and Sunday. And I don't know how many hours that they work a week on their jobs, but I'm willing to bet you that it is 50% more than a regular full-time city employee. They work a lot. They believe that filling this role with a person capable of doing all of those items set forth in the job description at 9G is important to them. I know this has all been circulated to you all, and you probably saw my comment about this when it was circulated, and that is this. I'm not into micromanaging our city employees. We have first-class employees in the city. I believe in hiring good people. You guys have done a good job of assuring that we hire good people. And I also believe in letting them do their work and staying out of their way and only becoming involved when it's absolutely necessary to make sure that they don't mess up or that we do things in an appropriate way. We have deferred in every respect to the police department when they want to hire somebody with very little question. That's same with every department, Mr. Hall's department, Mr. Buckner's department. We're not into micromanagement. So I would ask that you authorize Ms. Kellum to advertise for this open position and to allow her to look for somebody who can help her with all of these various job responsibilities. One including that we discussed last month had to do with quote unquote human resources. And I just want to talk about that a little because I know there was some concern about human resources. Understand that this person will not supervise anybody. This person will not have the right or the authority to hire or fire anybody within the city. That's you guys' jobs. This person will not have the right or authority to discipline anybody. So when we talk about human resources in this context, what we're really talking about is an administrative role of administering human resources. When a new employee is hired, their information has to be put into our system so that taxes are properly withheld, they're paid on time, we make sure they get the proper health insurance, those types of things. Similarly, when that person leaves, we have to make sure that they're coordinated with PERS, that their pay is stopped on time. They keep up with things like vacation days and those types of things. So this is not like a separate human resources person in a multinational corporation that has a lot more autonomy or authority to impact somebody's employment per se. It's really just an administrative role. So I would ask that you guys allow us to do this. It's in our best interest, and it is certainly something that city clerk and Mr. Mall think is important for us to do.
Mayor, can I add something?
Yes, sir.
And when it comes to like the title of deputy clerk, I do want to note there's certain job duties that only a deputy clerk can do. And the only one that immediately comes off to my mind, and this person probably won't be doing it, maybe down the line they will, I don't know. Privilege licenses. A clerk has to sign off on a privilege license. It's part of our form, everything like that. So that actual title somewhere in it, you know, could say, you know, assistant deputy clerk, super deputy, whatever deputy clerk you could say, it's got to have that kind of assignment. Because if you look through the statute and everything like that, it's the deputy clerk is an official position under Mississippi State statute. They can essentially do what the city clerk can do, particularly in their absence. So stuff like that helps to make sure that we can do all that. Plus, with the cross training, it just helps to have more people be able to do more things in certain situations. A perfect example of it is what's happened to our city clerk tonight, and I am in here filling in and trying to get things going.
Mr. Mall, I want some clarity. The starting salary for this position would be 42,000 plus benefits.
42 to 45 is the range. That isn't a big difference than what Ms. Young was making, probably within 5,000 to 6,000 at that.
Okay, so you're asking the board to approve authorizing us to advertise for this position at a starting salary of between 42 to 45,000 plus benefits. Recognizing, guys, if you approve this tonight, when that candidate comes here, you're all going to be able to pass on her, on his or her particularly.
We would like to try to get them in by November 1st. And obviously, nowhere before 10/1 because everything's budgeted for the next FY. So we couldn't do it if we wanted to.
All right, any questions or comments about this?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Bates.
So looking at the job duties that are listed here, and I know this is not here, but Scott, is this enough work to keep someone busy for a 40-hour work week?
I would say so. I think for one, they're going to have the exact job that Tony did to an extent. That includes purchasing, fixed assets. Purchasing is one of those things where that can take up your whole day or it could be much more minor. Fixed assets is kind of the same thing. There's some weeks you'll have, like right now is going to be a big time for fixed assets because it's the close of our year. I've got to go through, that's on me now, so I've got to go through and set a depreciation, make sure everything's doing right, get everything in the department, et cetera, all that kind of that goes into that. Adding the human resources aspect to it, I think will help kind of the other day because like, and I think it's even stated in here, it's a big part of onboarding, offboarding, the kind of more data entry side of things that will help. It won't be an everyday thing. So we can kind of combine all these things together. I think they'll have a solid job. And obviously Lindsay loves in her job postings to put other duties as assigned for a catch-all. So if for whatever reason this wasn't enough, there's plenty of work to go around in the city clerk's office. That I promise.
Any other questions of Mr. Mall? All right, is there a motion then to approve the new job description for deputy city clerk 1 and to advertise for this open position with a starting salary range of $42,000 to $45,000 plus benefits? Motion. Mr. Taylor made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Slade seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
All right, I have 3 to 2 in favor. All right, item 9H. 9H has to do with allowing us to formally accept the legislative allocation of $750,000 that the legislature graciously gave us this past session, and to open a bank account to deposit those funds.
That's for projects or specifically a road?
That's for, I believe,
I think that specifically said in the legislation to.
strictly for Gluckstadt.
Gluckstadt.
Improvements to Gluckstadt.
Yep, so that the motion should then be to accept those funds, recognizing that they are to be spent on the Gluckstadt Road widening project, which is what the legislature required us to do, and what we will do. That is a good point. I might raise that. Is there a motion?
Question,
I'm sorry, Mr. Slade.
can we put that in an interest-bearing account? Or will it be an interest-bearing account? That money may sit there, it has to be spent within 12 months.
What I remember, it has to be spent within 12 months.
Yeah.
But that could go
Okay.
towards engineering, like, we're gonna have to do engineering first. I mean, it could go towards that, it could go towards, I don't think there's any limit to what it could go towards, as long as it's going towards that project.
Let me see, Mr. Slade. I think that all of our accounts bear interest.
Legally, you put it in there. I mean, as far as,
Okay.
unless you're talking about, it might be the parameters of the account of the limit, I mean, the institution.
Yeah.
It says you gotta spend a certain amount, you get below a certain amount, it won't have certain interest or whatever.
I'd have to look back at that.
Generally, may you put money in an interest-bearing account, if that's the question, yes.
Yeah, I think all of our accounts actually bear interest, so that
As
was,
far as like a money market, you have to refer to somebody.
yeah, I don't think we can put the money at risk of loss.
Right, I agree with that. Plus, if this is money you need to access, there are probably more rules on money market accounts as well, so.
All right, I have Ms. Bates is making a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Slade seconded. All in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? All right, item 9I. Mr. Mall, you want to sign checks related to the mayor's youth council?
I would love to.
And the reason for that is Ms. Kellum believes she has a conflict.
Yeah, she spoke with ethics. Essentially, her daughter, y'all saw her tonight. She is on the mayor's youth council. We purchase things for the mayor's youth council, any kind of funds or any kind of money. Could be some kind of whatever the word, benefit to them. She just wants to make sure there's no kind of issues. So on checks specific to the mayor's youth council, obviously the mayor's signatures to be on there. I would just pull that one out outside of everything else and sign it. Really, that's all there is to it.
And this is not that, whatever it is, $1,000 is not a lot of money. It is, but we're talking about a nominal sum.
It's never gonna be anything, it's a big increase or, a big number. It's just a safety thing, and it's typically maybe one check a year that I'll sign.
Right. Okay, is there a motion then to authorize Mr. Mall along with me to sign checks related to the mayor's youth council in lieu of Ms. Kellum?
Motion.
Mr. Taylor made the motion. Is there a second? Second. Mr. Powell seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Hall, item number 10A and beyond.
Morning.
Afternoon. Evening.
That was earlier.
Just a quick update, the little memo I put in, we issued 15 permits in the month of August, totaling $5,789. 36 inspections occurred. I did have a discussion with one person about inspections and the number of them. It can kind of mislead. That's how many inspections were closed this month. Now, some inspections have multiple parts. The school is a prime example. The Performing Arts Center probably had 30-something inspections for foundation, because you would inspect sections at a time. And when that closed, it only counted as one inspection. So don't let that number kind of mislead. That's just the total number of closed inspections. Currently, we have 152 active permits at the time of this memo. We have added some more since then and closed a couple. So it's fair to say we're still within 160.
Mr. Hall, are there any burning problems out there that we need to know about, that people are wanting to develop in our community, that they're just facing some insurmountable problems that we need to all know about now?
Not that I'm aware
I
of.
have tried to reach out to some of these folks and have had some success opening some perhaps better lines of communication with them to try to head off problems before they occur. And you've done a good job of helping me with that. And I know you'll continue that. You'll let us know when there's a problem.
Yes, sir, I will.
Okay, any questions of Mr. Hall? Okay, item 10B, discussion and consideration of the Oaks site plan.
The Oaks came before us for conditional use previously, was unanimously approved for this assisted living location. They had a full site plan then, they just didn't have their civils done. This is essentially the same site plan, same elevation, same building, just now we have the civil drainage work done. Same colors on the building, same architectural shingles will be on it, all that. They're just asking for site plan approval now that they have conditional use approval.
All right, any questions of Mr. Hall about the Oaks site plan?
Since the civil was presented, was there anything of concern?
There was not.
Good.
All right, is there a motion then for approval of the Oaks site plan?
Make that motion, sir.
Mr. Powell made the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Williams seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations. You guys want to talk?
I can say something real quick, yeah. I just greatly appreciate, everyone that's in this room. It's been a challenge, but me and my wife are very excited to bring this to the city. So, sorry, I get emotional, but it's just who I am. Something I've fought for a long time. So, thank you.
Congratulations.
Glad to have you.
All right, Mr. Hall, item 10C. All right. Sywell Road Liquor Store conditional use.
This is for the previously approved convenience store located at the intersection of Highway 51 and Sywell Road. At the north end of the building that they have there, they would like to put in a liquor store. Within our ordinance, we do require a minimum distance of 4,000 feet. This one is approximately 9,200 feet away from the nearest. So it more than meets that ordinance as far as distance spacing. It is C2 conditional use. So they are seeking that conditional use to put it in that location.
All right. Any questions, comments, Mr. Hall?
And just as a quick reminder on all three of these items coming up, our office prepares an order, which would, a proposed order, would grant the conditional use, as well as a proposed resolution, which would deny it, depending on what the board's wishes are, and then an ordinance, with the rezoning one's got to be done by ordinance. So depending on which way you vote, you'll be adopting either the order approving it, finding that all the conditions are met in the zoning ordinance, or denying it, saying that they're not met. And then, of course, with the rezoning, we'll be talking about those statutory requirements as well.
Yes, sir, Mr. Slade.
Mr. Scanlon, it's one of the, I guess, threshold requirements on conditional use, and I can't remember the exact verbiage, but it must improve the benefit, welfare.
It cannot be detrimental to the welfare, safety, welfare and health of the city. Conditional use by definition is a use that would normally be inappropriate in a district, but with certain conditions can be appropriate. You got to look at the character, the surrounding, uses, and you've got to make, what you would be making is an express finding memorialized in the proposed order, if you grant it, that this use is not injurious to the welfare of the city.
Okay.
Or you would make an express finding that the applicant has not shown that it's not injurious to the welfare of the city if you adopt the resolution denying it. But that is absolutely one of the requirements. So,
Any other questions? I know Mr. Woolridge is here. He's the one seeking this conditional use. So I'm sure you can ask him questions if you have any of him as well, in addition to Mr. Hall.
the principal difference legally between a rezoning and conditional use, a conditional use is sometimes considered adjudicative rather than legislative, meaning that, you've got a certain number of elements, so to speak, that the petitioner has the burden of meeting. And by granting it, you would be making a finding that they've met all the, I'm using the term element as a lawyer, but those are the express conditions contained within that section of your ordinance, plus the other conditions you want to have. I mean, you've got the opportunity to say, well, we want to put more conditions on them. You have the opportunity to do that as well.
I'd like to say, as an alderman, we have to kind of, alderwomen as well, we have to kind of balance the needs and what our citizens want versus what the city and the businesses coming in as well. I know from Jump on the Corporation, we mentioned this many times, walking and collecting signatures, talking to people. The biggest issues was always liquor stores, gas stations, public works, and police station, or police officers patrolling our streets. I'm kind of torn on this one. I spoke to a lot of citizens about this particular one, and I think if I went on the vote to let my citizens, the people I spoke to, the citizens are not looking for another liquor store in Gluckstadt. So.
What are they looking for? I agree with Mr. Powell. I was on the fence with this. I had a couple of phone calls, people asking against it. They gave some very good reasoning. I talked to several people, reached out and talked to several people about it. Most of them, the vast majority were against it. There were a couple that were neutral, but I'm kind of like Mr. Powell. I think if we vote to represent, I think the general feelings of our citizens, I'd vote against it.
All right, well, what I'm getting ready to ask for is there a motion to approve the conditional use for this proposed Sowell Road liquor store? All right, having heard no motion, that matter fails. Item 10D.
Mayor, and just, were you asking for whether there was a motion to approve or a motion, period? In other words, should there be a motion to deny, a motion to approve?
Well, I probably didn't articulate that very well. I take it that nobody spoke up with a motion to approve it, that if I ask whether or not there is a motion to deny it, will there be a motion to deny the proposed conditional use?
I move.
Mr. Slay made a motion to deny. Is there a second to deny the conditional use? Mr. Powell seconded. All in favor of denying the conditional use?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Please, sir.
All right, I have that 4-1 denying the proposed conditional use.
Thank you.
John, thank you, Mr. Scanlon. Thank you for correcting me and making sure I do this right. Okay?
Yes, sir.
That's why you're here. I appreciate it. All right, item 10D has to do with Bear Creek water conditional use. I'll do it right this time. Mr. Hall.
Bear Creek is currently located here in Gluckstadt, up here at the corner of Distribution and Gluckstadt Road. They're looking for a larger place. They've got property currently off Church Road, right next to the railroad track on the south side, next door to Steel Tech. The building that they're proposing, the front building of the three that are on the site plan, would be the public access area where you go pay your bill or set up your account and such. The back area would be controlled by a gate, so it'd be gated access. They would keep their equipment back there and materials and whatnot. They do plan to put up a fence, I believe a wrought iron fence similar to what they have now to separate the gated area and whatnot from the public area. But that did come forward, since it is a public quasi, it's a public utility being provided by a private entity. So that's what triggered the need for conditional use approval on it.
Any questions or comments to Mr. Hall about the Bear Creek water requested conditional use? Okay. Is there a motion then to approve Bear Creek water's requested conditional use?
Make a motion, sir.
Mr. Powell made the motion. Is there a second?
So,
Ms. Williams seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Good enough, Mr. Scanlon?
Yes, sir.
I wasn't being facetious, I really wasn't. I want to make sure before we move on. I don't need problems.
I was imagining what that was gonna look like in my office next week.
I don't need problems, and I don't want to cause any for you. All right, item 10D, consideration of the Wellspring Church conditional use.
This is a location that's currently under construction. It came before y'all for site plan approval, brought forward by Mr. Johnny Gooch as the community meeting area, a meeting room. It was a building designed to where you could lease a space for, say, like a wedding reception. I believe Wellspring initially was gonna lease it on Sundays and Wednesday nights, and they had a Boy Scout troop interested, a quilting group and whatnot. Wellspring got more involved with the building and whatnot and felt led to actually purchase it and make this their church building. That triggered the conditional use since they are a church or religious organization. P and Z board did vote for recommendation of approval, unanimous.
Any questions on Mr. Hall about the Wellspring Church requested conditional use? Is there a motion then to approve the Wellspring Church conditional use?
Move.
Mr. Slay made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Bates seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, item 10F has to do with an application for rezoning for Ferris Processing and Trading Company from R1 to I2. Mr. Hall.
This location is not readily visible from Highway 51. It would be behind Keeling Company, back behind the Benny. It's a small sliver of R1 that is left over. It's all C2 around it and I2 directly abutting it. Currently, it's owned by MMC Material. Ferris Metal Processing is seeking to rezone it I2 for their metal recycling purposes. The main question I had was, is this a public recycling lot? It is not a public recycling lot. It is limited only to Nissan and their suppliers. And what it would be is, say they stamp out a door panel and you have the remnant left over of that piece of metal, that'll be shipped here, squished into a cube, loaded on a rail spur, and shipped out. So we won't have just random people bringing copper and stuff like that to this location. There was also a concern about dust on the access way. MMC has agreed to hardscape that driveway to alleviate that dust issue. Approximately anywhere from 10 to 12 trucks delivering a day, and that's really, with a hardscape, that alleviated that dust concern.
All right, any questions at all about the application for rezoning of Ferris Processing and Trading?
Rails permit approved, or is that a big issue, or?
Andy Clark, sir,
Andy.
representing, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Clark.
Good. I represent Ferris Processing, and that is sort of kind of, one depends on the other. Before they finalize that, they want to make sure that they've got the rezoning right, and the railroad also wants to see that. So that is in process. We have zero indication that will be denied or any problem whatsoever. It's just in process right now, but that I do believe that will be approved.
Any other questions of Mr. Clark?
Wait,
Go ahead, sir.
this may be a Mr. Hall question. You said, what type of surface on this road that's now dusty?
Hardscape, our landscape ordinance would require either asphalt or concrete. My best guess, being how this is MMC, it'll be concrete.
Oh, that's true. Okay. So would you recommend, although you're telling us there's an agreement between seller and buyer, is it prudent to go get a new motion?
The requirements for granting a rezoning are either that there was a mistake in the original zoning, which I don't think applies here. I don't think the applicant is alleging that, or that there's been a change in the character of the neighborhood and a public need for the justification. And so, and this is a legislative determination, not an adjudicated one. And so therefore, if you do grant it, you'll be adopting an ordinance, reclassifying the property as appropriate with those two findings being made and making an amendment from that as well.
And I will say they will have to bring a site plan forward, and it would be appropriate on that to make sure it is on there.
The granting of the rezoning does not contain the site plan. That would be a separate process.
Okay.
It does change permitted uses and conditional uses, obviously.
Seems to me that there's clearly been a change in the neighborhood.
How long has MSG been closed back there? Couple years?
It's been a while.
Anybody know? It's been a couple years.
Okay, is there a motion then to approve the application for rezoning from R1 to I2, specifically finding a change in the neighborhood
And public need.
and a public need? Move. Mr. Slay made the motion. Is there a second? Second. Mr. Powell, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Mr. Hall, thank you, sir.
Ma'am,
Mr.
there's something
Mr.
before
Powell.
the board. This may be for new business for our next board meeting. I would like to have a discussion for the next board meeting. I think, Alderwoman Bates has got stuff coming forward on some rezoning. I would like to see, liquor stores and gas stations possibly move to a C3, designation, and or moving the requirement of 4,000 feet out to about 10,000 linear feet, one or the other.
If the intent is just to hold a discussion, certainly you can do that without any notice. If the intent is going to be to consider a change to the zoning ordinance that night, which is also okay, I just want to know because we have to publish 15 days in the newspaper in advance. And in a town with a once a week newspaper, that really means like 28 days in advance. We got to start moving on it basically tomorrow.
For me, it would be a change.
Okay, so you want to be able to vote on changing the zoning ordinance that night?
So add that into the ones that we're gonna bring forward. With
You would like to keep them as conditional use, but move them from C2 to C3.
With what distance?
Well, if we move to C3, that'd be fine. The other option would be if we didn't do that, and to look at extending the 4,000 up to 10,000 on the linear feet if we kept it in C2.
What is the consensus so that we can publish it correctly as to?
I'll just say this, I like to move from C2 to C3. Okay. That'd make it easier for you.
And you've got the rest of what you.
That's the consensus. I can't imagine why.
I wasn't asking in that context. I just want to make sure so that when I put it in there, that we have it right.
You do have to notify the public of, what is being considered. You can't just say a zoning change. You got to talk about specifics. So we do have to.
So C2 to C3.
Plus, it sounds like some of the other things, and you've already got that, Zach, to make adequate notice for that. So we're going to have a public hearing about amending the text of the zoning ordinance before this body in October, at which point you might have a different law sitting here because we're going to be in New Orleans. I don't know if that's the case, but I'll get him prepared.
Okay.
You said liquor stores and convenience stores?
That's right.
Just get my notes. Thank you.
All right, anything else before we move on to Mr. Buckner? Okay, thank you, Mr. Hall. Mr. Buckner and I have talked earlier today about tabling 11A because the Madison County MOU that was provided to me for signing is replete with typographical errors. The corrected one they gave us has typographical errors. So they're gonna go back and fix it hopefully, and then we will approve it perhaps on Friday. If we can get that done. So we're gonna table 11A. 11B has to do with, Mr. Buckner and I have been, Mr. Buckner primarily has been working on trying to contract with somebody to help us prepare a conceptual design and give us some idea as to what the build out would cost for our city park. And we have been waiting patiently to get that done. You see the materials in your various materials here that we have a proposed contract to spend $15,000 to get that done, which is certainly well warranted and worth it, but it's premature in our estimation tonight because we don't have final documents granting the city ownership of that property yet. So what I don't want to do, and Mr. Butler and I agree to table item 11B. I don't want to get your opinion, your approval to spend $15,000 of the city's money. We start that process, and then under some amazing turn of events, we don't get the property and we've just blown $15,000. There has been nothing, and I have talked to the powers that be, the people who own the property, and they absolutely, fully 100% intend to make sure we have the property. There has just been some disagreement amongst them and the lawyers, imagine that, as to whether or not all landowners need to sign off on the deal or not. And legally, I don't think they do.
I don't think they do. It's my understanding, and I sent an email about this afternoon, and I'm not even sure if the whole board was on it, but I know you were, Mayor, but just as a quick update. And I wish Mr. Clark was still here, because he was the one that told me this, but he said that Mr. Harold, under advice of separate counsel, believes that they've got to have the property owners association kind of corporate approval, so to speak. So rather than redoing the deed, they're going to have a special meeting of the property owners association, pass a resolution of consent, at which point it is anticipated Mr. Harold will then sign the deed, and then we will have possession of the property. Hopefully, weather permitting, within a week or so, but we don't have it yet, but that's the way the compass is pointed. And there's been a lot of correspondence on this, as the mayor knows, but that's the latest news.
The bottom line is, we don't want to pass on asking you guys to approve 11B until all the ink is dry. So we'll table 11B. Yes, ma'am.
So if the ink is dry before the next meeting, could it go on the agenda?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
It will go on the next meeting.
Yeah, I have it on
following the 8B.
Right now, I'm planning to put it on next month's meeting.
I can go in.
Okay, 11C, Mr. Butler.
All right, we are asking the board to approve some curb removal and replace a head of paving in Saddle Cove, Red Oak subdivision. It's about 228 feet of curbing that needs to be replaced to avoid holding water on the side of the road, which will deteriorate our asphalt. It's gonna cost about $9,930.
I rode through there today. The paving looks great. I hope they're very pleased with the paving job. And
We have one issue that we're still working.
Right, and this just goes towards kind of completing the work that we've done.
Yes, sir.
Any questions of Mr. Butler about this request? Okay, is there a motion then to approve this curb removal and replacement in Saddle Cove?
I move.
Mr. Slade made the motion. Is there a second? Second. Mr. Powell seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, item 11D.
All right, we are asking the board to approve a skid steer to help guys out in the field. We thought about this for a while, and actually going back and forth for about 3 months and trying to get, exactly what we want, what we think we need, and what we need to start with. We got 2 quotes. One was for $69,300. That's from the Vinny. The other will be $74,900. That is complete factory and Pearl. It'd be a Komodo from the Vinny and Case from the Tractor. We're asking the board to approve us to buy the Komodo from the Vinny.
And the money's in the budget, correct?
Money is in the budget. We do need to make an amendment to the specific line item, but we do have money.
Any questions?
This year's budget or next year?
This year's budget.
This year.
Okay.
But we're gonna have to amend
We will
next
have to-
meeting,
We're just going to have to move money from one line item.
line item.
Yeah.
Okay, so
It's not a budget.
Mayor,
that's not.
that's not, if we will have to do a budget amendment. We have basically outstanding a bunch of ad camp jobs plus this skid steer. If the ad camp jobs go forward, on top of getting this skid steer, we will have to do a budget amendment to move from contractual services into that. We can amend the Friday meeting to basically put that in there to take care of all of it. We can't wait till October because then we're in the new FY and none of us want to, I don't even know if we can amend prior year budget. Any of that.
If both jobs went forward, we would be short.
The capital outlay itself would be short, that's the problem. So we need to take money from contractual services, really different, put it in capital outlay, which requires a budget amendment, which we would like to do.
What was the shortfall?
Off the top of my head, maybe 20,000 around there, maybe more. I honestly don't know off the top of my head.
Okay.
20 to 45,000, those two numbers in my head.
61,000 total with asphalt and,
There's a little bit of money left in capital outlay. So, yeah, we'll look at it. Get the specifics.
Okay,
so
so
total being the is about.
if you have to, if the board approves this, then on Friday, we're gonna have to amend the budget.
Correct.
Okay. Any other questions of Mr. Butler about this?
Or, yeah, room to store this in that big old yard back there?
This will probably be stored inside if I had to bet on it. We've been moving around some furniture in there, trying to organize it a little bit better and get more storage space inside that shop. A lot of stuff that was on the ground, up in the air.
Is it on the ground here in the meeting now, or do they have to order it?
I believe they'll have to order
Is there anybody?
it. I know we got 95 on the lot, but I don't think they have to set.
I'm sure we can get one quick.
We got a hurricane. We got a hurricane.
I've got one.
Man, we won't get it inside for the hurricane. Yeah.
All right, is there a motion then to approve the purchase of this skid steer? Make a motion. Mr. Powell made the motion. I'll count Mr. Taylor as a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. Thank you, Mr. Butler.
Thank you.
Chief Hale, item number 12.
You said B?
Well, they wanted to give a general update. You don't have to comment on anything more than what you put in the memo unless you got something you want to
We
add.
had 342 tickets since the last board meeting. So our tickets are drastically going down a little. Hopefully that means we're not having as many speakers. We had 18 total arrests. We had 5 felony arrests, 9 misdemeanor, and 4 DUIs. And I'm not sure on how many warrants we served. I wasn't able to get that. We served quite a few. Any questions on that?
All right, you want to go to 12B?
Yes. I am asking Mayor and the board to approve the 20 quote for our monthly recurring services for the new police department computer network. It'll basically be the same company that we're using now for our network. It was formerly Matrix, it's called 20 now.
So the Matrix was providing these recurring services for the police department computer network, and now the 20 is going to do it.
Yes, sir,
at
it's the same company.
cost?
Same company.
Same company.
It's the 20 bought Matrix.
Oh, I got you.
Same people working there, just a different name.
And Mike's still there. He's our main point of contact.
Okay.
Really nothing's changed.
So this is Mike Lenore's current company.
Yes, sir.
It's not his company anymore, but Mike's like I think he's like the GM over the local branch. We pay that 5,000 and some change month. You'll see every month. It's basically the same. I'm gonna assume this will basically be added kind of in there because we're gonna have new users, so it's gonna go up. This is a firewall, other stuff like that. I think I can't remember if those are monthly. I'm assuming that's monthly.
It is.
And there may be some.
It's monthly.
There may be some kind of increase to annual fees because just more computers.
All right, is this a contract we're entering into, or is this just on a month-to-month basis?
It would be just adding to what we already have with them.
Adding to what,
To my knowledge.
but we're paying this now.
Not now, this will be for when we get into this slide.
Okay, so this is a new charge.
Yes, sir.
Money's in the budget.
Yes.
All right, any questions of Chief Hall about 12B?
Chief Hale.
Sorry.
You already replaced me, I know. I feel he was kind of upset with me earlier.
I'm a little under the weather, so you just have.
I understand.
You got to know. All right, is there a motion then to approve this quote from 20 for the monthly network maintenance services at the cost of $425 a month?
Motion.
Mr. Williams made the motion. Is there a second? Mr. Taylor seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank
All
you.
right, 12C, signage for the new PD building.
Yes, sir. We're getting very, very close. October the 8th is the new date. We're excited. This is part of making the building look very beautiful, our signage. I've got two quotes here. One from the West Architectural Specialties and the other one from A&B Construction Specialties. And with West Architectural being the lowest and the best, is the one we're choosing to go with. That includes the signs and all that, installation and all would be $62,525, and then when we put the plat in there, it ends up making it, hold on 1 second.
64,775.
Yeah. Thank you. Which is, we have, I believe I'm right, we got 75,000 in the contingency for the county.
So that'll leave you 10,950 in the contingency that's already in the contract. So there's no, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's no GC fees added to that because it's money that's already in the contract. This is not in addition to the contract.
Correct. All right, Mr. Grant, thank you, sir.
Sorry.
Mr. Marsh, thank you for being here.
I do want
Good job on that building.
I do want to share this with y'all. Mr. Slay, you had asked that we add some stuff to the plaque, and I only brought one copy, I apologize, but this is the latest. The only change that we're gonna make to this, that's the building plaque, is we inadvertently, not intentional, left the general contractor off the plaque. So we're gonna add the general contractor to that. We'll either add them next to the architect or we'll add them below, depending on how much size we have. And then we just need to, that just attaches to the wall. We just need to find the appropriate place when it's ready to go in there. Where, normally it's right by the front door. This building's got some metal panels by the front door. We don't want to put it there, so we'll find the appropriate place. What was the total price? 64? 64,775.
I think we probably plan on putting it up by the big mural of me.
My cheap wall.
You be fully clothed and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Keep going, it might be cheap hall. All right, is there a motion then to approve this quote for signage to the tune of 64,775?
Correct.
Yes, sir.
Move.
Slay made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Bates seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Grant, Mr. Marsh, I recall seeing a change order.
That's next.
That's next. It's not on my copy of the agenda. It's on your guys. You guys copy the agenda. Okay. Just wanted to make sure. I've got apparently an older version of the agenda. And I knew I had seen it. And I knew it was important. So let's take that item. That would be 12D. Item 12D. Okay.
Yes, basically what that is, Mayor, is we brought it up the last board meeting and it was approved, or not approved. We brought it up, talked about, so we brought it before the board this time. So
I didn't hear it last time.
Yes, sir.
I have it now. Okay.
Yeah, this is just to get it approved.
And this is because of weather and other delays, primarily Entergy in getting the permanent power to the building.
Yes,
It
sir.
would extend the substantial completion date to October the 8th.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, so I need you guys' approval to execute this change order reflecting that change in the substantial completion date.
Make a motion, sir.
Mr. Powell made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Slay seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Marsh, Mr. Grant, you all do a great job, and we thank you for all of that.
We appreciate it. It's been a pleasure. I don't know if the public can speak on this, but it has been a pleasure working with you guys. I know we've had some hurdles to get over with some modifications to the building. I know the baby box is a huge deal to the city and to the state. So we're glad to have that in there as well. We're looking forward to the 8th, looking forward to the 7th because your furniture will be delivered on the 7th. So we'll make sure we have appropriate personnel that help with that as well.
And it hits the inventory list.
Does it? Does that work out great?
Well, you know.
If it does, we planned it that way. If it doesn't, sorry.
As long as it happens.
It'll hit the inventory list. And Law puts it on.
We're excited.
All right, anything else? All right, did anybody sign up to make public comments tonight?
No, sir.
Nobody signed up for public comment. Mr. Slay, you want to address something?
I want to ask, Freeport warehouse exemption. Several months ago, last year, we had approved Freeport warehouse exemption for 4 businesses. We gave them a 1-year approval. We voted, I think, to allow them to have it through this year, I believe.
I'd have to go back and review it, but I think that's right.
All right. The other thing we talked about was there are like 5 or 6 more Freeport businesses that have that same exemption. And our discussion was around the expiration. And I think y'all said it was open-ended. The Board of Supervisors was approved it. There was no expiration date on it. And it's my understanding y'all were going to look at, I guess, state law on that. Tell us what our options were. And the reason I bring it back up now is I think we need to address those. I know, like I said, that Levi and Cardinal Health, I think, were the 2 big ones. They were major, $500,000-600,000 a year between those 2, I think. And Ms. Kellum got a list just, I think, this past week of other businesses that are still getting the Freeport warehouse exemption. I think it's 5, 6, 7. I saw the list. But I questioned her about, well, y'all were, I think, going to look into state law on that. Tell us what we could do about those, because we don't want to just, I guess, let them linger and just keep going forever. So that's what's happening.
You want to discuss that October, November?
October. Let's do it in October, because it's been an issue. And as I appreciate it, these are exemptions that the county approved. And the question is, what can we do, if anything, to either revoke their exemptions or otherwise limit their exemptions going forward?
Okay.
That's what we need to do.
All right, we'll have that prepared for further discussion.
It was only on the Freeport warehouse, because all the other exemptions they approved have an expiration date.
The other ones expire, they can only be go for 10 years for the new expansions.
We have a schedule for every one of those, the expiration date and everything, but the Freeport warehouse is still there, just definite.
Yeah, the statute's not clear on those having an expiration date, like it specifically states for the new warehouses or expansion of warehouses that it's 10 years, but the Freeport doesn't have a cap on those, so we'll have to.
Yeah. All right, that concludes our business tonight. Thank you all who stuck it out with us here tonight. I'll take a motion to adjourn. Move. Mr. Slade made a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Second. Mr. Williams, second. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, we're adjourned.